We want to take a moment to welcome everybody to the Watch This Shit podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. My name is Seneca, the movie professor, and I have my collaborator and cooperator here, Young Sam. Go ahead and introduce yourself, young man.
Yo, it's Young Sam, aka your fellow light skinned Negro.
That you are my friend, that you are. And with this podcast, we're going to give you the definitive decision on whether you should go view a new movie release or not. It's real easy. If we say watch this shit, stop what you're doing and go enjoy some good cinema. If we say don't watch this shit, avoid it like COVID or Dirty Girl. Or don't, do what you want. It could be fun and it could cost you some time in the hospice. You don't want to listen to us, you put your life in your own hands. First review we're doing to kick this podcast off is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the Really Bad Day at the Office for Mr. Tom Cruise. That's not the entire title. Well, so what you got to do is you got to look under the parachute, and that's where the rest of the words are. So a little synopsis for this movie. It's not even that complicated. At this point, it's 7 movies in. You know what it is. Tom Cruise basically just creating a movie where the stunts are the stars. The plot, if there is one, is usually basic and secondary to the spectacle of watching real action on the screen. When I say real action, I mean minimum use of computer effects with real stunt people performing death defying gags. So for me, the plot was generic and a little nonsensical. So get this. An AI program becomes sentient. No, not Terminator, just some weird shit. So, and this puts everything in motion because the AI program wants to secure its own survival. These actions include employing people into its service to handle tasks that require human hands. Tom Cruise and his team are called in to accept the mission or not. Mission Impossible is in the title. And it's their choice if they want to stop the AI and stop the people trying to gain control of the program. So, to do this, I know that was a lot. To do this, they had to track down 2 MacGuffins and learn the location of a source code that can be used to control the AI. I've heard people claim that the entity is a allegory for uh, fear of Hollywood using AI to write scripts, and I even heard some people say it's a stand-in for God. But I promise you, that was not the intent of this movie. It was not that deep. Tom Cruise just needed a reason to do some globe trotting and have a cold ass train sequence.
Yeah, the
All
train
right,
sequence was pretty cold.
that was a good sequence. It was actually on the cool. It was worth it. All the foolishness that they pulled in this movie just to see that. So this movie is not set up like a traditional Hollywood movie. It doesn't follow the 3-act structure. Most films do, right? The setup, the confrontation, and the resolution. Dead Reckoning Part 1 is essentially 3 first acts. And partly because it's just a part 1 of a movie, and also because this is what they wanted to do. In every section of the movie, you have the same thing. And it's the setup, the confrontation, resolution. And again, and again. And then it ends on a cliffhanger. That's what you got. But what ties this movie together is its action set pieces. We'll talk about that right after we talk a little bit about the characters. Everybody know Tom Cruise. You can call him the character name from the movie if you want to, but it's fucking Tom Cruise. You know what it is. The cool thing is he got a new young chick that he swaps out his old chick for in the in the middle of the movie. So that's cool. And one thing I like about that character is because she has quirks that are not fully explained, but you can understand. Um, there's a car sequence in Venice or Rome. I get them mixed up because Fast X did a car sequence. I think it was in the other place. So one did it in Rome, one did it in Venice. One did it better. I'll let you guess. Is Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible did it better. But every time she got in the car, Haley Atwell's character, she was either going to run into something, um, stall the car out. She just could not drive, and it was never explained whether this was her first time driving and she didn't have a driver's license, or she was just a bad driver. That was just one of her quirks, and it worked because every time she got in the car, I was on the edge of my seat, like she's not going to get away. And they tied that into the actual chase sequence to make it even more like nail biting. The other characters are pretty basic. The villain is somebody that they retroactively wrote into the story. Um, he has ties to Tom Cruise's past, even though we never seen this dude in any of the other Mission Impossibles. Matter of fact, this is Sam's first Mission Impossible movie. Sam, did you feel lost or confused about any of the characters while you was watching the movie?
Oh, so that guy that guy Gabriel wasn't in the other.
No,
Oh, I
no.
thought he was. They had flashbacks, so I was like, "Oh,
I
okay, so he
know
must be
they
from."
shot that for this movie.
That's some shit. Um, yeah, I don't know. That just confused me
Uh-huh.
because, like I said, I thought that he was already in the move, like he was in the past, but now that I know he's not,
Mm.
okay, whatever.
Yeah, they tried it, and they used the de-aging technology and everything. That's why those scenes were so short and in the dark. Now they had actually filmed a whole sequence for that, but they didn't put it in the movie.
Mm, didn't know that. But yeah, at times I did feel confused about the characters. I mean, just being my first one, I was like, okay, I'm still learning, but it's all right.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that because, but they're really one note, right? And it's almost the same thing as with Fast and Furious. You had the archetypes, right? You got the person that hacks, you got the person that snipes, you got the person that does the front man for the mission, which is Tom Cruise, right? And then they
Mhm.
got a thief. Like the characters are basically what their skill set is.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I would have known this was your first one when we went to the movie, I would have tried to prep you, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's talk about the action scenes because that's really what holds this movie up.
Yeah.
Um, the the movie doesn't get good. Matter of fact, it's rather boring when the high level operatives sit around and give exposition and talk about what the mission for the movie is if you choose to accept it. That's nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see the big action set pieces. And the first one that really did it for me was the one at the airport when when they had basically they had three different missions going on at the same time. They had to try to get the key from the guy without him knowing and follow the guy to find out where the AI program source code was. But also, they had to find and track down a suitcase that possibly had a bomb in it and defuse the bomb, all while trying to stop the new character from stealing the key before they got it. That's a lot,
Yeah, that
all at
was
the
a
same
lot.
time.
It was good. That's when I really got interested in the movie. I was like, "Oh, okay, so it's starting to pick up," and I'm like, "Okay, is if this is what the movie's like, then okay, I'm in." But
Hmm.
yeah, I learned that it wasn't.
He learned that it wasn't. Yeah, so that's and like I said, that's these movies are tied together by the action pieces. Like that was great. And then I think the next action scene after that was when they tracked down Haley Atwell's character and did the car chase sequence, right?
Mhm.
And they went out of their way. They put cameras on the side of the car to go out of their way to show you, no, we're really driving these cars. This is really happening. This is no Dom Toretto. We're gonna CGI this rope onto the car and let it swing across a ravine. Like this is really happening. And and
Are
it
we
felt
driving
like
these cars or is Tom Cruise driving those cars?
Tom Cruise is driving the cars, but everybody else is in the cars too. I mean, but they're stunt people, right? Like
Right,
not all
okay.
the actors do all their stunts, but Tom Cruise, I think he does 90% of his stunts.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So when you see him go off a cliff, it's him.
Crazy.
Crazy for real. And this is a 60-year-old dude. This is a 60-year-old dude. So the car sequence, the sequence in the airport, um, the fight scene in the alley after he traded in his girl for the new girl. Man, they killed her cold. Uh,
Why I don't understand, like, why he was so quick to just pick up Haley Atwell's character. He was like, "Up, here you go." Like, I guess you
because the movie needed him to. There was no logical reason for him to say that that was his friend now. They were not friends.
No, she was stealing from him.
They had been exactly. They had been adversarial the entire movie, and just because his old lady died, he picked her up and put her on the team, and damn near against her will.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't want to do that. It was a stupid ass mission. So, and this is going into the train sequence. So one of the chicks from the previous movie that Tom Cruise had a flame with, she's back, and the AI program is basically trying to control her to get her to do whatever nefarious business it needs her to do with the key, right? So Haley Atwell's character is supposed to put on one of them dumbass masks that they keep using that completely alters your whole body makeup so that you can look like somebody else, even if they're bigger than you or smaller. uh, infiltrate the train, trick one of the CIA agents into giving her the key or the code or something, and then getting away. She didn't want to be there.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah, so that was a stretch. But I'm glad they did it because that means that we got the best sequence of the movie, which was the train scene. And in order to get to the train scene, Tom Cruise had to jump off of a mountain and glide down like a flying squirrel.
Mm.
And then this leads into what I thought was one of the most ridiculous parts of the movie. He pulled his parachute and crashed into the train through a window, as some people are saying, but I feel like he broke through the side of the train,
Yeah,
ran into a guy that was holding Haley Atwell's character at gunpoint, and pushed him out the other side of the train.
yeah.
If you see
I
the
think it was.
sequence,
I think it was like the wall. It wasn't. It wasn't a window. It was a wall.
yes, thank you. It was even if it was a window, it was connected to a wall. He went through the
Yeah.
whole part of the train and knock the dude out of the train. And if you see when you see this whole sequence, there is no way, unless you're like a mathematical genius, that you could calculate if I jump at this time and I fly at this speed, that I'll be able to. And he, how would he even know that they were there? They weren't even supposed
Exactly.
to be there right then. So it's no way. There's it's impossible. Like I tried to make it work, even with hyper beautiful mind math skills, you wouldn't be able to do it. There's
Mm-mm.
no way. Yeah. But other than that, the train sequence was amazing. They went so far as I don't know, 'cause they showed some of this like behind the scenes before other movies before this one came out, and nobody would let them crash a train. So they built a train to do this with a real. They built a real working train, and they ran it along the tracks, and they did the fight scenes on top of the train. They blew up the bridge and they crashed the train off the bridge, like all of this in real life. Now, of course, they used some CGI just to cover it up, but the only
Hmm.
CGI that they really used was like CGI to make the gaps between the trains look wider when they jumped over it.
Uh,
Yeah, but everything else was what it was.
no wonder this budget was so damn big.
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they all talk about how serious he is about safety protocols and making sure the actors are taken care of and that they don't die because they do some dangerous stuff. Yeah, but it was very cool, and it actually that scene made the movie worth it. It probably shouldn't have been as long as it was, and it probably should have had
Yeah.
a real ending. But other than
Yeah.
that, and the other ridiculous thing is, like I said, the exposition dumps boring. Some of the old tropes that they still do from the original TV show is probably time to graduate from that. Like the pulling off the mask, I think we passed it.
Well, I mean,
I
well,
think
yeah, it's spoiler, but I mean, can't use that anymore.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's not even a big spoiler. Yeah, unfortunately, the machine died, which was, I guess, a member of the team. One of the most valuable members of the team died. The mask maker. So yeah, they won't be able to do that anymore, which is good. I don't know if the next one is the last in the series or not, though. It needs to be.
I
Yeah.
mean, this for my first one, I was just like, "Is this what Mission Impossible is?" It like some things it read like they when they were doing the lines, it just felt like I was watching a soap opera. I was like, "This is so dry." It's like, eh.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and that's because they're using the same style as the I think the show was made in the 70s. 70s or 80s, I can't remember. But yeah, it was very melodramatic, very soap opera-ish. Scooby-Doo, "You're the villain? Uh-oh." Right? That type of thing, and it just doesn't work because we've seen too much. We've seen too much.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it was just will I will I watch the second one? Maybe. Will I go back and watch, 1 through 6? Probably not if it's like this. I mean, the stunts were okay, but it just didn't really sell me on, "Okay, I gotta watch this just to see what Tom Cruise did." I don't give a fuck. I don't care. If
My recommendation, if you ever do go back and watch the other movies, only watch the action sequences. Like when he climbed up the hotel in Dubai, like the tallest hotel in the world. He climbed it with a pair of suction gloves.
okay.
And halfway through the climb, he likes one of the gloves malfunctions and falls off. Right. So now you have to kind of climb it one arm. It's pretty cool. It's a cool sequence. But stuff like that, you watch it for the stunt aspect, but you don't
Mhm.
need the whole movie. You don't.
I YouTube it.
Yeah, there you go. YouTube the action scenes. I'm pretty sure somebody has put together uh, a handy dandy uh,
Compilation.
reel of all the highlights. I'm sure. All right, so final verdict. On this one, my final verdict is watch this shit. But caveat only for the action scenes.
Yep. Mhm. Same.
Only for
Same.
that. Yeah, only for the action scenes. Like if you honestly, if you try to watch this at home, it's not even worth it.
Mm-mm. Like
Like you need to watch it
I
on the
was saying
biggest screen possible.
if you watch this shit if you like stunts, but if you want a story, don't watch it. Don't even waste your time. Just YouTube the stunt like when it comes to YouTube.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there you go. That's our take on Mission Impossible with all 7. Fuck it, I'm not gonna do that whole thing every time. They really think I'm gonna say those all those words every time. I'm not gonna be able to do it. That's too
Mission
much. It's
Impossible, Dead Reckoning, part 1, 32. What?
Alright, no doubt. So, thank you for listening to another episode of Watch This Shit. You come here for the realest take on new movies. So make sure you follow us so you're not left in the dark on whether you should check out a movie or not. And now, if you haven't seen this shit yet, what the fuck are you waiting for? We told you what to do. Check us out next time when we review Oppenheimer, Lord willing. And good day, sir.
All right.